Hey, this is Bigg and welcome to another episode of Buy, Avoid or Wait for Sale. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking about Returnal, which is a new PS5 exclusive released by Housemarque. Now, before I get started, can you do me a favor and hit the like button and also hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel? I upload gaming videos regularly and your support is definitely appreciated. Right, let's get into it. So my original plan was to spend all of the launch weekend playing this game and then do a review once completed. But because the game has been seriously kicking my ass and it's looking like GTA 6 may be out before I actually complete it, I'm gonna have to do this one a little early. And after looking on eBay the day after release and seeing so many pre-owned copies up for sale, I can see there's, so many people who have already thrown in the towel. Now, this isn't because it's a bad game. In fact, it's a very good game that has a mixture of addictive gameplay, frustrating, rage-inducing moments, and makes use of all the features of the PS5 that many may have thought were gimmicks. So this video is more of a first impressions rather than a final review, but I'll still be giving my recommendation based on my experiences with the game so far. First, let's talk about the story. You play as a space explorer named Celine, who, after ignoring orders, goes to investigate a signal coming from the planet Atropos. After crash landing on the planet and doing some exploring, she soon realizes that this isn't the first time she's been on this planet, and after getting killed by one of the alien inhabitants, you're taken back to the same crash sequence that the game started off with, and Celine realizes that she's stuck in a time loop. Now, without letting this explanation get too complicated, your overall objective is to find a way to break the cycle, and this will be done by completing each of the 6 biomes. So now let's talk about the gameplay, and there's a lot. Returnal is a third-person roguelike game, which is a genre I've never tried before this. So just like the majority of people who have given up already, I didn't know what to expect. The first thing I notice is when starting the game is you're taken straight into the game. There's no difficulty setting to choose, you're just taken straight into the game. And every time you die, you're taken straight back to the beginning of the level and you lose all your mods, weapons and consumables that you've unlocked, apart from permanent unlocks. Permanent unlocks I've seen so far are your sidearm, this sword weapon that lets you do one-hit melee attacks on most enemies, destroy shields and on some enemies and destroy barriers, and this device that you wear on your back that allows you to use some of the tech, like this teleporter that lets you quick travel over the map. I've heard that the restart point being the beginning of the game only applies to biomes 1 to 3, and if you die during biomes 4 to 6, you'll restart at biome 4. Although I haven't been able to see this myself because, like I said, the game's been kicking my ass. Now, the difficulty of this game so far is really coming from the randomness of the game. Every time you restart the loop, you'll leave the crash site through a door leading to an area in the biome. Thing is, the area you enter is randomly generated. If that doesn't make things tough enough for you, the enemies you face are also randomly generated in some areas. Here's an example. I mentioned that you got a sword that lets you destroy shields. Well, before I actually found that sword, I died a few times, and although the areas were shuffling, I was starting to remember which enemies I would be facing and was getting prepared. I roll into one area and what do I see? Enemies with red shields around them that I can't shoot through and can't destroy. Back to the crash site I go. Now, each gun has an alternate fire mode, and even that is randomized. And some alt fires are better than others. There's one that lets you fire grenades, another that shoots these projectiles that ohm in on the target, and my favorite one so far shoots out electricity, which is great for when you're being rushed by multiple enemies that you need to kill fast. The sidearm you start the loop with always as a random alternate fire mode, and the same goes for every weapon you pick up. As you get kills with each weapon, you'll see a progress meter slowly fill up with your weapon proficiency, which will make your gun stronger and improve the damage you can cause, amongst other things. Also, when you kill some of the bigger enemies, they will sometimes drop guns or consumables. The guns will usually be at a higher level than the one you've already got, and will sometimes have different alternate fire modes. For the consumables, they range from things like vials of silphium, which is used to restore your suit's integrity. Basically, it's the game's health resource. You also get consumables, which can clear your suit's malfunction, or quick attacks on your enemies, like impaling them with spikes from the ground. I'll talk about malfunctions a bit later. As well as restoring your health, you can find special silphium, which will increase your suit's integrity. Basically, on the left of your health bar, you'll see 3 slots, and when you pick up some special packs of silphium, it will tell you how many of the 3 slots it will fill. When all 3 slots are filled, you'll see a second bar appear at the end of the health bar, which will expand the more you fill up the 3 slots. You're going to want to do this as much as possible, because having enough health is definitely important in this game when going into different fights. There's also obulites, which will be dropped by every enemy that you kill. Think of obulites as the game's currency, which is used in fabricator machines to create consumables and upgrades. And now this is where the game gets complicated and introduces a risk and reward mechanic. Now, some of the items you pick up will have malignants attached. This will basically give you something that you need, but at the same time cause your suit to malfunction. And believe me, there are some nasty malfunctions in this game. Some of them are minor, like causing your melee cooldown to be 2 seconds long instead of allowing it to recharge instantly, and others are seriously messed up. Things like taking 4 damage, preventing you from picking up new weapons, causing damage when you pick up items. The most messed up one I've seen so far, and I actually got 2 or 3 of these in a row, was one that reduced my suit's integrity. I got this on a couple of malignant silphiums, so every time I used them to try and heal, what was actually happening was my my suit integrity was being reduced, so I actually reduced to like a quarter bar left, and this was when I was en route to face a boss fight. You can also pick up parasites, which will attach themselves to your suit and grant you a special perk that you may need, and then at the same time give you something crap that you don't like reducing your damage by 50% while standing still and shooting. There is a way of clearing malignants from items, but it's very costly. You see, there's another resource in the game called ether. Ether is very rare, and it sometimes took me like 4 to 5 runs just to find 3 or 4 pieces in total. Ether can be used for something much more valuable than cleansing malignant items. It can be used to power the Reconstructor. Now, the Reconstructor will take a scan of Selene, and you'll respawn in it instead of the crash site when you die. When this happens, you'll have a good amount of health and will respawn with the weapon you went in with, preventing you from needing to start the loop from the beginning. Knowing this makes me just want to take my chances with malignant items rather than waste a scarce and valuable resource. Now, this is a bullet hell game, so you'll see a ridiculous amount of enemies trying to kill you, and shooting at you from all directions. One thing I like is that there's an indicator that pops up around Selene in the direction that you're being shot from. You can evade these visible projectiles by dashing or just moving out of the way or jumping over them, or actually dashing through them without taking any damage. There's also an adrenaline system which builds up as you kill enemies without taking damage. There are 5 adrenaline levels. Now, level 1 increases your weapon's overload. At level 2, your scan lets you see further to reveal more enemies. Level 3 decreases your melee cooldown. Level 4, you gain weapon proficiency 50% faster, and at level 5 you earn 50% more obulites. Now, every time you reach one of these levels, you'll see a little notice pop up at the bottom of your screen. and if you take a hit, your adrenaline resets. But you can find consumables which will fill all 5 levels with a single use. And I'm not done. There are secret treasure rooms where you can find much needed obulites and other items like keys for opening locked containers and other consumables. Even though the map changes at the start of each run, the layout of each section stays the same. Well, it does at the moment anyway. And that's a blessing, because when you have to replay the biome over and over again, you start to memorize the locations of the secret room entrances in each section. However, once you enter the secret room, it's also a randomly generated room, so you never know what type of treasure you're going to find in there. But take my advice, search for these rooms because you need the resources you get from them. Also, go into each treasure room expecting a fight. This goes for containers marked safe to open in the description as well. I've opened some of these safe to open containers and a powerful alien has popped out and attacked me. So treat it like it's April 1st. Trust nothing, trust no one. Now, let's talk about the presentation of the game. If you're looking for a game with insane next-gen graphics, this ain't it. It looks better in some places than others, but to be honest, it looks as good as it needs to look. Instead, they've decided to work on setting the atmosphere, and I've got to say they've nailed it. From the start of the very first biome, the thing the game reminded me of the most was the Alien movies, especially the not so great Prometheus movie. The fog that's covering the ground as you walk through it, the vegetation that actually looks alive and in some cases will follow Celine when walking through it, or even grab her in some cases. Even though she doesn't seem to take damage from the ones that grab her, the sound of it still freaks me out every time, because the sound mixed with the visuals gives this a seriously creepy vibe. And while we're talking about the sound, let's just talk about how much detail goes into the audio, especially when using a decent headset. When I mentioned the things that people may have thought were gimmicks, the 3D audio was one of them. The level of detail is unreal, as well as being able to hear the directions of the enemies that are coming for you. I also heard very subtle things in the distance as well from time to time, like the screams of another woman, which sounded like it may have been Celine. Now, I'm not sure if this is the sound of other players also being killed, but I'm questioning everything I see and hear in this game. But the thing which I know a lot of people thought was a gimmick was the haptics on the DualSense controller. I'll admit it, I was also one of these people before I got the PS5, but because I still haven't gotten around to playing Astro's Playroom, and not every PS5 game has it or even uses it to its full potential, I've been waiting for a AAA game to really show me what this thing can do. Now, Returnal is that game. From the moment the game starts, the controller comes alive. You can feel the spacecraft crashing. When going through an area that's raining, you can feel the rain hitting the ground. Allow that to sink in for a sec. You can actually feel the rain. Now, when it comes to using the controller in combat, the adaptive triggers controls the fire modes. If you pull the left trigger in halfway, it activates normal fire. When you pull it in all the way, it activates alternate fire. It sounds like something really simple, and I'm sure people who are gaming without one of these controllers may be thinking, it's no big deal. But let's see you keep that same energy when you actually try it for yourself. It's just something that makes so much sense, especially when you're in an intense battle and you don't want to be thinking about which button to press to change modes. Now, so far I haven't run into any issues with the game. I have seen reports that the game has been crashing for some people, and I was actually watching some stream highlights for another YouTuber and saw it crash as he was getting close to the first biome boss, and ended up having to start back at the crash site. Knowing how difficult this game is, I definitely feel its pain. but for me, I haven't had one crash or one glitch yet. The difficulty for me isn't even that much of an issue because I know it will make it even sweeter when I beat each section of the game, and I'll have some bragging rights. But an issue which I have got, and I've actually seen this online a lot, and I definitely agree with it, is that there are no save points in the game. I don't have an issue with being sent back to the start when I die, because although I'm pissed off every time it happens, I know that's the way the developers designed the game to be punishing and wouldn't want to change their vision. But let's be real, we're talking about a game that has runs which can last over 2 hours, and we all have busy lives. As I'm doing this review right now, I'm thinking I'd like to, have a play on this game tonight. But I know that if I get past the boss and onto biome 2, I'm going to lose my progress because I have to get some sleep for work tomorrow. There should be save points in the game. I shouldn't have to clear my schedule just to get to play this game, especially not on a game that costs £70. Imagine paying £70 for a game and then not being able to play it because you know you're going to lose your progress when you have to switch off the PlayStation. It's going to put people off, which is a shame because I really like this game. Even though it's making me rage a lot, it's also making me think of new strategies every time I play, and every time I die, I just get a little bit closer to cracking that particular biome, which just makes me say, you know what, just one more time. So like I said earlier, it's an addictive game. One thing I have heard is that when you beat a boss, you won't actually have to go back and beat them again. They do stay dead, so at least that's something, but they do need to come up with a safe solution for this game. So now comes the question, should you buy, avoid, or wait for sale? Or more importantly, is it worth paying £70 for? Now, I think that the word has gotten round by now about how difficult this game is. It's going to put people off paying £70 for it. So it was a massive mistake to launch this game at £70. There are some games that won't have any issues with this and will get the £70 easy at launch. I'm talking games like God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West, and even the next Gran Turismo for the racing fans. But a new IP which is constantly savagely beating you down when you play, maybe it was a bad idea to release at this price. £50 would have been a decent price to sell this game at, but I think people are just going to wait for a sale on this one. For me, I was interested in this game from the reveal trailer I saw at Sony's State of Play, and because I have the physical version of the PS5, I was able to shop around and managed to get a good deal anyway. But this is what I would suggest. If you think you may be interested in this game, do your research. Check out gameplay videos and loads of reviews and see if it's a game for you. Go in with your eyes wide open and knowing that on many occasions, this game is going to piss you off. When you lose 2 hours or so of progress, it's definitely going to piss you off. After that, if you're still up for the challenge, you should definitely buy this game. It's a very good game, but it's just not going to be for everyone. If you're still sitting on the fence, I'll say this. Buy the physical edition if you have a physical PS5. You can always put the game on eBay if you don't like it, and because it's new, you'll likely get most of your money back anyway. If you're looking for the digital copy and are still on the fence, just wait for a sale. If you're not into extremely challenging games, avoid this game at all costs because it just ain't for you. Alright, so I hope you found this video useful and that I've helped you make your decision about this game. If you did find it useful, please leave it a like, and if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. I will be uploading boss battle footage, when I can finally beat the bosses in this game, so definitely hit the notification bell so you see when I upload a new video. Next game on the list is Resident Evil Village, so definitely keep checking this channel for more videos. Thanks for watching.